Going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing an impeller replacement on an Alpha 1 Gen 2. I have some old videos on this, but a lot of people keep telling me that my videos are too long, so let's see if we can get this one done nice and quick. Alright, let's give you a quick rundown of the tools we're going to need. First of all, obviously you need your kit itself. I'm going with Sierra. This is the part number 18-3570 water pump kit. That comes with the impeller, the housing, the gaskets, the plate, the O-rings, the quad seal, basically everything. As far as tools go, you're going to need some sockets, a 5/8, 9/16, 1/2 inch, and 10 millimeter. Yes, 10 millimeter. Thanks, Mercruiser. Need an extension to get the anode off, the socket wrench itself, obviously. Don't know why that's there. Trash. You'll need some picks to get some O-rings out, a scraper to clean off any old gasket or anything like that. My plate under the housing was a little bit stuck, so I ended up using the pry bar just to pop it up. And to get to these two and these two, there's a nut on the bottom. You can see that. Yeah, so that's kind of tough to get to with a socket. You can get a socket on there, but it's easier to just use two 5/8 open wrenches. And last but not least, these are optional. These are alignment pins for the water pump housing. These are homemade. You can buy these from Mercruiser, or to be honest with you, you can just not use it and eyeball it. I've done that before I owned these, so you do you. Alright, got our stand here with the drive on it. I'm going to take the top off. Just a note, you can do this on the boat. Instead of removing the top, you'd kind of be dropping the lower out, but I have this off the boat, so we're going to go this way. Start over here so you can see what I'm doing. And take the open wrench and back up this nut over here. Alright, now that we got those four out, we need to switch over from our 5/8 socket to our 1/2 inch. And back here, you can see this. Yep, you can. Down through this hole, there's a bolt, and that is holding in an anode. Let's see if we can break this loose. As you do that, it's going to start dropping down this anode on the bottom. You might want to just put your hand there so it doesn't fall and break. And then I'll just leave that bolt in there. So that's the anode that comes out from underneath that bolt's going into. And now that that's off, if you were to look up underneath here, there is another bolt, and if I'm not mistaken, that's also a 1/2 inch. Sure isn't. Maybe 9/16. Yep, 9/16. There's that bolt. It's got a star lock washer on there, don't lose that. And then the last thing you're gonna need is back to the 1/2 inch socket and up here. Let's see if you can see that. This bolt right here. That bolt out. No washer on that one. Okay. At this point, we should be able to separate the top. Sometimes I've found, there you go, you need to pry it, but it looks like I got it. Okay, looks like we lost a little bit of gear oil there, which is normal. One thing I will tell you is there should be a piece on here that I'm not seeing, so that means it's stuck in the upper. And that are these pieces, which go like that. We'll put those back on when we're done. got this removed. Just wipe off a little bit more of this drive lube. And we're gonna remove this seal. Use the pick here maybe. Yeah. This thing is very cracked, so it's a good thing we're replacing this. This is about 3 years old, so I try and do this every 3 years. This is exposed to exhaust, so it's not that crazy to think that that would not last forever. Okay, next we're going to remove the housing. Try and just pull this straight up. There we go. Okay. And then under that, you have this plate. The previous one I used on here actually has a molded gasket on it. Apparently this one is very stuck. There we go. The underside of the old one. Top side. Looks okay. But again, we're replacing it. While you're in here, you want to look for any chunks, anything, major corrosion, anything like that. But it's going to be a little dirty because this is fresh water. Almost forgot one more thing. There's a seal in here called a quad ring. You get a new one of those with a kit, so don't forget to replace that. Alright, that's the entire removal process complete. I'm gonna clean the surface up a little bit with a scraper, and then we'll start reassembly. Alright, here we go on reassembly. And for those of you that have seen my videos before, know this is my Frank's Red Hot. I put this on everything. This is a Permatex former gasket. We use it on bolts because it's non-metallic, so it won't cause corrosion issues like anti-seize would. Gaskets, threaded fittings, pretty much anything that needs to seal or not stick together. The first one to go down is this one. And you'll just want to make sure the holes line up to ensure you're putting it on the right orientation, because you can put it on wrong and the holes won't line up. Next is our plate. Let's ensure this is going in the correct orientation, which is this way with the slot facing the shifter. And then same thing here, correct orientation, and that looks good. All the holes are lining up. Now, this is the part that if you have these, go ahead and put these in. If you don't, I've done it without them, not gonna lie. So you do what makes you most comfortable. These are called alignment pins. You can buy them online. Mercruiser makes them. I don't know if it's 100% necessary. I never had an issue not using it, but like I said, I have it. So next thing we want to do is take our housing and our new impeller. And before we do anything here, we want to put a little bit of grease in here to ease this assembly process. So that's why we had our grease out. So let me go just put a little on my finger. And we're just going to put a light coating around the inside of this. And this is going to do two things. One, it's going to help assemble this a little bit easier. And two, it's going to prevent the rubber from being right on metal on the first time you start this up. It'll provide you a little bit of lubrication just to make sure there's no excess friction there. Now that we've done that, this is an important part here. So when you're going to put this in, you're going to see this doesn't just fall right in. And if you'll remember the old one, the blades were bent over. So there's a correct rotation to do this. When you put this in, you just take the fins and you want to turn it counterclockwise as it's going in, like that. Okay, so make sure the fins are tailing off in that direction. Now we're just going to take and kind of eyeball to get this hole lined up with the hole in the impeller. Okay, so that's good. Now a little bit more grease, and the purpose of that is for our new key. We're going to just put a little bit of grease on the back of the key to help hold it in place. And that's going to go right here on the flat on the shaft, like so. Now we're going to take our new housing, plop it down over here. Well, before we do that, we actually need to rotate the impeller because of our guide pins. So we need to try and get this key lined up when we look down through this hole. I'm just looking down through there, trying to see if that's gonna line up. And it's not. It's gotta go a little bit further. There we go. Right down. Now, the secret here is we want to put these screws in before we take these pins out, because these pins, again, are making sure our alignment is perfect here. Let's get our bolts, pop them in. Now we can remove our pins and put in our last two bolts. Click. Torque to spec. Now, a little bit more grease. We're just gonna get this lubed up a little for the seal. Don't forget to lube your shaft. Now we take our new seal. It goes on in this orientation with like the cone facing up, cup facing down. So we just kind of gently work that over there, making sure we don't tear anything. Okay, and this is where the secret comes in. You don't just push this down. That's why they give you this. This is the installation tool. That goes over here. And you push it down. And as you're pushing down on that, you pull up on this shaft because it'll have a little bit of play. And that's it. The last couple things are, remember this was stuck in the top half, and this thing has 2 O-rings in it, and they come in the kit. So again, we'll take our pick, dig out one of the old ones, dig out the other one, throw them away, pop the new ones in. There we go. And obviously you're going to want to grease those a little. And that pops in like that. That's ready to go. Okay. Now comes the hardest part of the entire job. No, I'm not taking this apart again to put in the quad ring that I forgot to put in the first time I assembled it. What are you talking about? Up and at 'em. And there you go. All right. I mean, you've seen the disassembly, so at this point, I'm not going to bother putting the last few bolts in. So that's pretty much it. That's your impeller. Get out there and get it done. See you guys.